Imagine being born as such a Chad that your parents name you Adonis, and Andrew Tate start questioning his masculinity in your presence. At least that's what his parents thought when they named our main protagonist of this series. Long, long ago, but not too long ago, let's say a couple of centuries or so ago, God gave birth to witches among the humans. He ordered them to guide humanity with their plot and power and lead them to prosperity. But as humanity does with everything good, it gathered all them witches and put them on stake. It was around the early 1800s when witch hunts stopped at large, as there were less and less hot guys and girls to kill in the name of magic. But everyone still had an inferiority complex towards them, so they killed anyone who they suspected might have magic or is a witch. Back to the current time, which is sometime in the future, when flying cars are finally a thing. Adonis is traveling through a desert in the Solsavian region of the Rhedia Empire alongside his master and witch, the hot girl Chloe. He complains how it's just so hot there and asks Chloe if she found where they were. She looks at a paper map and just remembers his great-grandpa Andrew Adonis Tate, and his enlightened words thinks, women. After looking at the dumbass of his teacher, he takes out his smartphone and tells her that he has reception and that no one uses a paper map in this day and age. Now, before you all cancel me out for sounding like him, Chloe is actually an OP ice witch, and ironically, she has no chill when it comes to dealing with her enemies. Got it? No chill. Ice witch. Yeah, so she tells Adonis to stop using his phone because the kingdom will find them, and he says that he is actually a fan of Steve Jobs and built his smartphone himself. It was made in China with child labor. With magic, and it had special features that made it non-traceable. After that, he wonders why they have to be always running and becomes sad. He tells Chloe that they should just go and kill all normal humans so they can live in peace. Sounds like he could be a member of Akatsuki, right? Hearing him speak, as if he was going to end Tsunade's career, Chloe tells him that the times have changed and they must live in hiding. And in this period, she's more like a ninja than a witch when it comes to living like this. Adonis looks at her and starts remembering his ancestors again. But then Chloe tells him to stay back as she senses some people following them. It turns out they are soldiers from Halo, but less cool. Adonis says that he will take care of them, but Chloe tells him that it is episode 1 and he is still in a flashback, so he should sit this one out and let her show off her beautiful figure. Powers. She uses ice magic, Aliot, to summon a staff and then freezes all the enemies in one go. Meanwhile, back at the kingdom, the unit commander reports in front of the emperor and tells him that, just like they expected, their unit was one-shotted by Chloe the witch, and now they will have to raise taxes to recover the cost once again. The king looks at him and then tells his guard to kick him down. He says that he wants that bitch at any cost and he won't take failure as an answer. Back in the desert, Chloe walks back and looks at Adonis's mad ass, who embarrasses his ancestors, Tate, by crying out that he wanted to beat the bad guys and that Chloe never lets him fight. She tells him that he is not ready, but he summons a giant sword and tells her that he can slice more than a peach with it. Just then, the frozen flying bikes that the soldiers were riding start to glow and create a teleporting zone around the couple. They start flying up in the air as the whole teleportation magic happens around them and wonder what's going on because teleportation magic hasn't been invented yet. Well, the keyword being yet, and his information got outdated a couple of seconds ago. Besides that, this is not magic, it is science. It turns out the Emperor had his technology developed and he uses it to summon Chloe and Adonis in the middle of a stage in the town with a crowd gathered around them. Adonis looks at the king and starts rushing towards him like a noob, and soon gets his ass strangled by a couple of soldiers. Chloe stands up and looks at him, and says that she won't bear them abusing the boy in front of her, and starts chanting and activating her magic. It looks like we will get to see more of her powers, but suddenly, her magic circle breaks up, and she realizes that she is out of magic. She wonders why this is happening, and the king tells her that in this story, the villain is going to win, and they have created technology to seal their magic while on that platform. He then walks up to her and grabs her by her shirt before tearing her clothes off and revealing her plot to the whole world. After that, he punches her down to the ground and humiliates her in front of the entire crowd, who took her pictures and recorded the whole thing for their TikTok following and OnlyFans accounts. Adonis looks at his master getting messed up, and he lashes out like a wild animal, but the king turns around and orders his soldiers to give the kid a bullet to chew on. Hearing this, Chloe bows down in front of him and says that she is to be blamed and that Adonis is just a normal human being whom she kept with her as a pet slave. Hearing this, Adonis wonders what's more messed up. Is it the fact that his master is being humiliated and about to be killed in front of him, or that he was just called a pet slave? With that, she begs for his life and presents her head to the emperor to take a shot at. The king takes out his gun and points it at her. Chloe looks at Adonis and tells him a final thank you before the king shoots her down, and then has his men fill her body with bullets before finally letting the executioner walk in and chop her head off to show the crowd. Adonis remembers how he was saved by the kind witch when he was just a little abandoned orphan, and then cries out as he burns this memory in his head and swears that he will one day take revenge on everyone there and make them die even worse deaths. After that, they imprisoned Adonis and sealed him in a special capsule with his magic sealed. It's only in episode 1, and we are already at a time skip. One Piece should take notes. 10 years later, we are at the Mayhem Internet Camp in the capital of the Empire. Inside, there are lots of prisoners of war. The Empire won against some weak-ass nation and took in all the hot guys and gals they could to sell off as slaves for their entertainment. Inside the facility, people are fighting over scraps of food, but the pink-haired freak, Doroka, walks up to them and gives them her food and tells them to stop fighting. After that, her friend Anna comes to her and tells her to stop giving her food away and says that she thought humanity would be happy once they took care of all the witches, but they keep fighting even now. Doroka looks at her dumbass and tells her that it was never about the witches and that they just lost the war, and it sucks. She tries to cheer her up with some puppet show, but then one of the guards come in and calls out badge numbers to come with him. One of the numbers is Anna's, and she starts losing her mind over it, so Doroka takes her badge and walks out in her place. Outside, she is greeted by the gay ass of the warden, who tells her that she will now become a slave and spend her life serving her master, and then tries to take a selfie with her. After that, he tells her to strip so he can search her body and lets her look back to find dead and abused bodies of some of the other prisoners who were called out before her. After that, she takes a moment to bite the warden's hand and grabs the unlocking device from his hand with her mouth. She starts running out and tries to give command to the device to unlock all cells, but it is voice activated and refuses to accept the vocal command. She then reveals her hidden talent that once got her in front of Simon and the other judges on Redia Got Talent, which is a voice parody. She mimics the warden, and the command goes through, and everyone starts running out of their cells like their lives depended on it. The warden orders his men to catch her, but she keeps running, and eventually ends up in the special sealing chamber and unlocks the capsule seal in which Adonis is being kept.